The night sky above the Mojave Desert crackled with an unusual energy. David Park leaned against his vintage Land Rover, binoculars pressed firmly against his eyes, tracking a peculiar object descending from the starry expanse. He wasn't your typical stargazer, a former NASA engineer turned independent researcher who'd spent the last 5 years investigating unexplained atmospheric phenomena. The object moved differently, not like a meteorite, not like a satellite, but something intelligent. Its trajectory was too smooth, too calculated. Each movement suggested deliberate control, defying the random tumbling typical of space debris. Silver-blue light pulsed around its edges, creating a soft halo that seemed to bend the very fabric of surrounding space. "What are you?" David muttered. Flipping on his high-resolution tracking device, his phone buzzed. A message from his research partner, Mina Kim. "Tracking the anomaly. Readings are off the charts." The object's descent slowed as it approached the desert floor. No sonic boom, no trail of fire, just a graceful, almost dance-like movement that suggested something beyond human engineering. David's hands trembled slightly. After years of watching the skies, something felt fundamentally different about this moment. Suddenly, his equipment went haywire. Electromagnetic interference created static across multiple frequencies. GPS systems nearby flickered and reset. Local wildlife, coyotes, jackrabbits, desert birds, fell eerily silent. 3 miles away, a perfect circle of sand began to shimmer and transform. The ground didn't crack or explode. It simply rearranged. Microscopic particles realigned themselves, creating a smooth landing zone that looked untouched, as if nothing extraordinary had happened. The object, now clearly not a traditional spacecraft, touched down with less disturbance than a feather. Its exterior looked like liquid, metal, constantly shifting and reflecting the moonlight in impossible geometric patterns. No visible windows, no traditional propulsion systems, just a seamless structure that seemed to breathe with an internal rhythm. David started his vehicle, adrenaline pumping. Professional protocol demanded careful approach, but his curiosity screamed to get closer. He'd investigated hundreds of anomalies, but this felt different. This felt like an actual moment of discovery. Mina's voice crackled through the radio. "David, thermal imaging shows something impossible. The object's internal temperature is fluctuating, not just changing, but doing so in mathematical sequences, almost like a complex communication protocol." As he drove closer, the desert around the landing site seemed to pulse with an ethereal blue light. Strange geometric patterns emerged on the ground, not crop circles, but intricate designs that looked like advanced mathematical equations drawn by an impossibly precise hand. The spacecraft, if one could call it that, remained motionless. No hatches opened, no immediate signs of life. Yet something about its presence suggested tremendous potential energy, like a compressed spring waiting to release. David stopped his vehicle approximately 500 meters from the landing site, professional caution mixed with overwhelming curiosity. His hands reached for specialized scanning equipment, radiation detectors, electromagnetic sensors, thermal imaging cameras. "This is definitely not another government test vehicle," he whispered to himself. In the distance, the object began to subtly change. Its liquid metal surface started creating complex, wave-like movements, almost like it was breathing. Mathematical. Patterns continued to emerge around its perimeter, creating a landscape that looked more like an advanced technological canvas than a simple desert floor. Something was about to happen. Something extraordinary. End of Part 1, Narrative Style. Notes. Maintained human-centric perspective. Used scientific terminology without being overly technical. Created mystery and anticipation. Avoided cliché, alien invasion tropes. Kept language. Simple and engaging. Focused on characters' perspective and emotional journey. Introduced multiple layers of intrigue. Would you like me to proceed with expanding the next part of the story? The desert wind carried an electric charge as Mina Kim's specialized research vehicle approached the landing site. Her hands gripped the steering wheel, a mixture of scientific excitement and professional caution etched across her face. Years, of xenobiology research had prepared her for something unusual, but nothing could truly prepare someone for a moment like this. Her equipment continued to behave strangely. Sensors flickered between data streams, showing impossible readings that defied conventional physics. The spacecraft, if it could be called that, seemed to be communicating through complex electromagnetic pulses that danced between mathematical precision and pure artistic expression. As Mina stepped out of her vehicle, the ground beneath her, feet felt different. Each step created subtle vibrations, like the surface was alive and responding to her presence. The liquid metal object now pulsed with a rhythm that seemed almost purposeful. Suddenly, the spacecraft's surface began to transform. It wasn't breaking or opening in a traditional sense. Instead, it was flowing, reshaping itself with an intelligence that suggested something far beyond mechanical engineering. Intricate patterns emerged, creating what looked like a temporary membrane that slowly became transparent. A figure began to take shape, not a monster, not a threat, but something unexpectedly beautiful and complex. A humanoid form materialized, clearly not human, but close enough to be breathtaking. Her body seemed composed of living light, with skin that shifted colors like the most advanced camouflage technology imaginable. Eyes that held depth beyond human comprehension tracked Mina's movements with curious intelligence. "I've been waiting," the being spoke, not through sound, but directly into Mina's mind. The language was perfect English, yet it carried undertones of something far more complex. David's vehicle approached, bringing additional scanning equipment. The being turned, acknowledging his presence without fear or aggression. Her movements suggested a combination of scientific precision and artistic grace. "My name is Arya," she communicated. "I represent a collective that has been observing your species for several generations." Mina's scientific training battled with pure human emotion. First contact, an actual legitimate first contact scenario, unfolding in the middle of the Mojave Desert. Arya's form continued to shift, demonstrating technology so advanced it blurred the line between biological organism and sophisticated machinery. Complex neural networks seemed to flow across her body, creating patterns that suggested multiple layers of communication happening simultaneously. "We've been searching," Arya continued, "for a species with specific potential. Humanity represents something unique in our galactic understanding." David and Mina exchanged a quick glance. Years of research, speculation, and late-night discussions were culminating in this exact moment. An alien being was standing before them, communicating with unprecedented clarity and purpose. The spacecraft behind Arya continued to pulse, suggesting it was more of a living entity than a traditional vehicle. Complex geometric patterns emerged around them, creating a temporary communication zone that seemed to modify the very fabric of local space. "Your species demonstrates something we've rarely encountered," Arya explained. "A combination of technological potential, emotional complexity, and adaptive capability that makes you extraordinary." Mina found her voice. Extraordinary how? Arya's form momentarily showed complex galactic maps, star systems, and technological progressions that human eyes could barely comprehend. It was a silent demonstration of the vast knowledge waiting to be shared. "You solve problems not just through logic," Arya communicated, "but through creativity, empathy, and collective understanding. Most advanced civilizations lose this capacity. You continue to maintain it." The desert around them seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. Two species, separated by unimaginable distances, were now having their first genuine conversation. Something monumental was about to unfold. Fakensurs. Of Part 2, Narrative Style Notes, maintained scientific authenticity, kept human emotional response central, avoided cliché alien interaction tropes, used engaging, descriptive language, focused on communication and potential, created sense of wonder and possibility. Would you like me to continue with the next part of the story? The first challenge arrived like a digital thunderstorm, sweeping across global research networks. Massive holographic displays materialized simultaneously, in research centers worldwide, presenting a complex problem that seemed to defy conventional understanding. A planetary environmental crisis simulation appeared, not just a simple model, but a living, breathing technological puzzle that required simultaneous solutions across multiple disciplines. Climate restoration, energy generation, resource management and societal restructuring merged into a single intricate challenge. Dr. David Park studied the holographic display, his eyes reflecting the complex networks of potential solutions. This wasn't a traditional test. This was a comprehensive evaluation of human innovation. "We're not competing against each other," he told the assembled international research team. "We're solving this together." Young researchers from different continents began collaborating in real time. A quantum physicist from Seoul connected with a climate engineer from Brazil. An artificial intelligence specialist from Nigeria synchronized data with a sustainable technology expert from Canada. Aria's transmission provided cryptic guidance. "Solve not just the technological challenge," her message explained, "but demonstrate the human capacity for compassionate innovation." The challenge required more than technical solutions. It demanded emotional intelligence, collective thinking, and a holistic approach to planetary restoration. Global communication networks transformed. Social media platforms became collaborative research spaces. Universities opened their research databases. Government institutions shared previously classified technological innovations. Massive quantum computing networks activated, processing millions of potential scenarios every microsecond. But the human element remained crucial: creativity, intuition, and unexpected connections that pure computational power couldn't generate. The first breakthrough came unexpectedly. A group of young researchers discovered that the environmental restoration wasn't just about technological intervention, but about understanding complex ecological relationships. "We're not fixing a machine," explained Jin Ho, a 28-year-old ecological systems designer. "We're healing a living network." Their solution combined advanced technological interventions with traditional ecological knowledge. Indigenous understanding of environmental systems merged with cutting-edge scientific modeling. Robotic swarms began implementing initial solutions, but these weren't traditional machines. They were adaptive, learning systems that could modify their approach based on real-time environmental feedback. Aria watched the human response with growing fascination. Most galactic civilizations would have approached this as a pure computational challenge. Humans were solving it like a complex living artwork. Energy generation systems transformed. Sustainable technologies emerged that didn't just produce power, but actively restored environmental ecosystems. Solar collectors became living biological interfaces. Wind energy systems integrated with local wildlife migration patterns. The challenge wasn't about a single solution, but about demonstrating a comprehensive, compassionate approach to planetary management. Global leaders watched in amazement. This wasn't a technological competition, but a collective human achievement that transcended national boundaries. "Humanity is showing something extraordinary," Aria's transmission continued. "Not just technological capability, but the ability to solve challenges with creativity and empathy." Research teams worked continuously, breaking traditional academic and professional boundaries. A marine biologist collaborated with an artificial intelligence expert. A quantum physicist discussed ecological restoration with an indigenous environmental manager. The holographic displays began showing increasing success rates. Not just computational measurements, but complex ecological recovery indicators that suggested a truly transformative approach. Somewhere in the challenge, humanity was proving something fundamental. Their capacity to solve complex challenges wasn't about individual brilliance, but collective imagination. As the first phase of the challenge approached completion, something remarkable became clear. Humans weren't just solving a problem. They were reimagining their relationship with their planet, with technology, and with each other. Aria's final transmission carried a hint of something unexpected: excitement. End of Part 3. Narrative style. Notes: maintained global collaborative perspective, highlighted human innovative potential, avoided technical complexity, created sense of collective achievement, focused on emotional and technological innovation, kept language engaging and accessible. Would you like me to continue with the next part of the story? The United Nations headquarters transformed into a global innovation center. Massive screens displayed real-time collaborative efforts from every continent, showing humanity's most ambitious collective response to Aria's challenge. Dr. David Park stood at the center of a circular command room, holographic displays dancing around him like living information networks. Young researchers from different countries worked side by side, their cultural differences becoming their greatest strength. "This isn't just a technological challenge," David announced to the global team. "This is about proving humanity's potential." Advanced quantum computing systems processed millions of potential scenarios. But human creativity remained the true breakthrough. Each solution wasn't just about solving a problem, it was about reimagining possibilities. In Tokyo, a team of young engineers developed adaptive robotic systems that could restore damaged ecosystems. These weren't traditional machines, but living technological organisms that could learn and modify themselves in real time. Brazilian environmental specialists created breakthrough sustainable agriculture techniques that could transform desert regions into productive landscapes. Their solution combined satellite imaging, genetic engineering, and traditional ecological knowledge. African technology experts developed communication networks that could connect remote communities, turning technological infrastructure into a living, breathing social network. Aria's holographic representation continued to observe, her form shifting like liquid light. She wasn't just watching, she was learning about human potential. Most galactic civilizations become predictable, her transmission explained. Humans remain beautifully unpredictable. Military research centers typically focused on defense. Technologies began redirecting their efforts. Advanced artificial intelligence systems designed for strategic analysis now worked on solving global environmental challenges. Young researchers became unexpected heroes. A 26-year-old climate scientist from South Korea collaborated with a 32-year-old renewable energy expert from Kenya. Their combined approach demonstrated something extraordinary: global problem-solving that transcended traditional boundaries. Robotic swarms deployed across challenging environments, but these weren't traditional machines. They were adaptive learning systems that could modify their approach based on complex environmental feedback. Satellite networks transformed into living research platforms. Each orbital system became more than a technological tool. It became a collaborative research interface that could process and share information instantaneously. "We're not just solving a challenge," explained Jin Ho, the lead ecological systems designer. "We're reimagining our relationship with our planet and technology." Global communication networks changed. Social media platforms became collaborative research spaces. Universities opened their databases. Government institutions shared previously classified technological innovations. The challenge required more than technical solutions. It demanded emotional intelligence, collective thinking, and a holistic approach to planetary management. Artificial intelligence systems, typically seen as potential threats, became collaborative partners. They didn't replace human creativity. They amplified it. Aria's transmission carried an increasingly exciting tone. "Humans solve challenges not just with logic," her message explained, "but with imagination, empathy, and unexpected connections." The first breakthrough came from an unexpected collaboration, a team combining indigenous environmental knowledge with advanced technological modeling discovered solutions that pure computational power couldn't generate. Energy generation systems transformed. Sustainable technologies emerged that didn't just produce power, but actively restored environmental ecosystems. Solar collectors became living biological interfaces. World leaders watched in amazement. This wasn't a technological competition, but a collective human achievement that transcended national boundaries. As the challenge progressed, something remarkable became clear. Humanity wasn't just solving a problem. They were demonstrating their capacity for collective imagination, proving that their greatest strength wasn't individual brilliance, but collaborative potential. Arya's final transmission for this phase carried something unexpected, genuine excitement about humanity's potential. The galaxy was watching, and humanity was ready to show what they could do. End of Part 4. Narrative style notes. Maintained global collaborative perspective, highlighted human innovative potential, avoided technical complexity, created sense of collective achievement, focused on emotional and technological innovation, kept language engaging and accessible. Would you like me to continue with the final part of the story? The final moments of humanity's grand challenge arrived like a symphony of collective potential. Global communication networks pulsed with anticipation, every screen showing the intricate solution humans had crafted. Arya's holographic form shimmered with an emotion surprisingly close to wonder. The challenge had been more than a test, Sri was a revelation of human capability. Your species doesn't just solve problems. Her transmission echoed through research centers worldwide. You reimagine possibilities. The solution wasn't a simple technological fix. It was a complex, living network of innovations that transformed environmental challenges into opportunities for global regeneration. Robotic systems worked alongside human creativity, creating solutions that were part technology, part art, part living ecosystem. Dr. David Park stood in the Central Command Center, watching as global data streams converged. Young researchers from every continent had contributed, not as competing nations, but as a single human team. A breakthrough ecological restoration project in the Sahara demonstrated humanity's approach. Where traditional thinking would have suggested impossible challenges, human teams created adaptive technologies that transformed desert regions into productive landscapes. Advanced AI systems, working in perfect harmony with human researchers, had developed solutions that went beyond computational thinking. They didn't replace human creativity, they amplified it. Arya's spacecraft continued to hover near the Mojave Desert, a silent witness to humanity's potential. The liquid metal structure pulsed with complex communication patterns, processing the unprecedented human response. Most galactic civilizations become stagnant, Arya's transmission explained. They solve technological challenges but lose their creative spirit. Humans maintain something extraordinary, the ability to imagine beyond current limitations. The challenge had multiple layers: environmental restoration, sustainable energy generation, social infrastructure redesign, each element interconnected in a way that defied traditional problem-solving approaches. Young researchers became the unexpected heroes. A climate scientist from Seoul collaborated with an indigenous environmental manager from Brazil. A quantum physicist from Nigeria worked alongside a sustainable technology expert from Canada. Robotic swarms deployed across challenging environments became more than machines. They were adaptive learning systems that could modify their approach based on complex environmental feedback. Global satellite networks transformed into living research platforms. Each orbital system became a collaborative interface, sharing information instantaneously across human research teams. The solution demonstrated something fundamental about human potential. It wasn't about individual brilliance, but collective imagination. Each solution carried an emotional intelligence that pure computational power couldn't replicate. Arya watched as humans solved the challenge not just with logic, but with creativity, empathy, and unexpected connections. Traditional boundaries of nationality, discipline, and technological capability dissolved. You solve challenges like a living organism, her transmission continued, adaptive, creative, compassionate. The final data visualization was breathtaking, not a static report, but a living, dynamic representation of global transformation. Environmental indicators showed unprecedented recovery. Technological innovations merged with ecological restoration. Global leaders watched in silent amazement. This wasn't just a technological achievement. This was a demonstration of human potential that transcended traditional understanding. As the challenge concluded, something remarkable became clear. Humanity had done more than solve a problem. They had demonstrated their capacity for collective imagination, proving that their greatest strength wasn't individual brilliance but collaborative potential. Aria's spacecraft began to pulse with a complex communication pattern. The message was clear, even without words. Humanity was ready to join a larger galactic community. The galaxy had been watching, and humanity had shown exactly who they were, not conquerors, not followers, but creators. End of Part 5. Narrative. Style notes. Maintained global collaborative perspective. Highlighted human innovative potential. Avoided technical complexity. Created sense of collective achievement. Focused on emotional and technological innovation. Kept language engaging and accessible. Would you like me to provide any additional details or reflections on the story?